Okay, John the Other here, obviously. And obviously I'm going to be talking about the Antifa, BLM, violent riots, burning buildings, murder, and general public mayhem that seems to be going on an ongoing basis. There are three categories of public reaction to this that I find notable and objectionable, and I'm going to talk about all three. They are as follows. The first is, I've seen an awful lot of social media postings from the point of view of either Antifa or Black Lives Matter, commenting on other social media of people who might post like carpentry videos, or they do yoga online, or they do painting and artwork and stuff online, or they do pictures of their fancy crunchy bacon breakfast online. Look how delicious this looks. And the Antifa BLM social media advocates pointing to these people and saying, I see you not supporting us, and we're going to make some kind of list, and then there's going to be retribution. That's crap. F you. That's bullshit. Don't do it. That should be not tolerated even 1 second. The next thing that I've seen, the next category, is the people coming out looking at the actual statistics and the numbers of people. Young black men killed by the police is some number. Young white men killed by police is some larger number. And then saying, well, your black community outrage at young black men being killed by the police is illegitimate because more white men are killed, therefore you're stupid and your outrage is baloney and we hate you and we're going to spit on you. Yeah, I mean, maybe not spit, but like there's a scorn there. And if you're a conservative doing that, you're part of the problem. Don't do that. Because whatever the numbers are, and there's more young white men killed by the police because there's more young white men. There's more white people in the United States than there are black people. It's like 14% to some 60 or 70%. Well, don't turn around and then scorn these guys. Their anger, their outrage isn't false. They're not acting angry. They are angry. And we'll come to why in a minute. We'll come back to that. But don't just add gasoline to the fire. That's baloney. Don't do it. You're an asshole. And the third category of public reaction I've seen that I think deserves the absolute most contempt and scorn and condemnation is white, lefty, liberal, compassionate types looking at violent, murderous, psychopathic behavior, street violence, targeting civilians, burning private businesses down, burning people's homes, extreme public violence, and people turning around and going, I'm with you, I stand in solidarity with your violent, criminal, public, murderous, predatory behavior. What's wrong with you? Their outrage is true and deserved, but that is no excuse to turn around and go, well, I'm not going to hold these people to a standard of moral accountability as if they're adult human beings. I'm going to pretend that these are pathetic, weakling, imbecile, unaccountable, pea-brained children who are so fucking feeble-minded that their violent, public, criminal, predatory, totally destructive and pathological behavior is completely acceptable. I stand with them. You muppet. Those are the three things that I think bear mention. We're going to go back to why the black community is so outraged. It's not because there is like a white power supremacy KKK conspiracy holding them down. It's because they've been fed the idea that there is a white KKK, white power, white supremacy conspiracy holding them down, and every cop is a secret racist, and there's Klan meetings, and Donald Trump is the secret grand dragon of the KKK. No, they believe that because they've been fed that continuously in a drip stream from the mainstream media. The violence that we see on the street is a product of social conditioning. It's a product of we are fed this drip of misinformation and race baiting. The media has been poking the public with a stick. Do a race war. Come on. Murder each other. Murder. Ooh, yeah. The media wants carnage. The media loves that if it bleeds, it leads. And so while I hold people responsible who burn their own neighborhoods down, and engage in violent public criminality, I'm not going to give them an excuse or give them a pat on the head and tell them they're good little violent public demonstrators. But I'm also not going to say that it just happened out of a vacuum. The public is reacting to this. The people who are engaged in public street violence, burning their neighbors' businesses down, attacking each other with bricks and guns and bats and so on, they were stoked to this level of apoplectic, unquenchable rage by the mainstream media, who have been trying to provoke this public violence for the last, I would say, decade, probably more than a decade. The people in the left-leaning mainstream media have largely created this by controlling the public narrative. They're the ones that your rage should be vented on. They're the ones who belong behind bars, who should be taken out of the conversation, because what they're doing is go do a race war. Do a race war. Yeah, kill each other, burn each other's houses down. Yeah, ooh, look at this. Money, 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 money. Advertising, more eyes. And don't get yourself watching this into a state of outrage either. Don't get all worked up in a rage, because your rage is the commodity that they are trying to provoke. Now, I had a funny thought. It occurred to me yesterday morning that Black Lives Matter and Antifa, whether they're intended to be constituted as such, are now effectively guerrilla public relations and marketing organizations on behalf of the NRA. Now, I know that sounds a bit loony. I'll explain. The mainstream, the regular normies, the public people who are not in riots, who are just looking at this with a sense of just, oh my God, what's happening? This is a catastrophe. They are buying guns at a rate and in numbers that have never before been seen in the public. The normie blue pill regular people public are buying guns and getting gun licenses faster and at higher numbers than has ever happened before, and it's because of the public activities of Antifa and BLM. Now, they're not trying to protect themselves from violent murderous police, probably a few of them, but mostly they're buying guns to protect themselves from Antifa and the Black Lives Matter. So effectively, Black Lives Matter and Antifa have become, whether they meant to do this or not, guerrilla marketing arms for the NRA. Because the enthusiasm and the public activity of buying guns has never, ever, ever been higher. I made the first half of this video, and then I went to go edit it, and I forgot the part I wanted to tell you, which is this. So the lighting's going to be a little different because I just moved my laptop. But there has been something on my mind for the last 10 years, maybe 5 years, that I haven't wanted to talk about. And I guess I can kind of say it now because it's already happened. And it's one of those things that I have in the past made various humorous predictions of terrible things that were going to happen, and I presented them as satirical. This is what feminism is going to do next, and I present some ridiculous and horrible thing, and then the problem is a year later they would do it, not because they got the idea from me, but that was just where it was going, and I could see it. And so what I'm going to tell you now, I've been thinking about for a long time, and now that it appears to be happening, I don't have the thing holding me back. I don't want to put this idea out there and have it become real. It's already real. The social justice activist, the censors, the communists, the people who want to stop you from having free speech, who want to decide that anybody who is even slightly to the right of a far leftist is a Nazi, conspiracy, misogynist, woman-hating, Islamophobic, Ku Klux Klan, blah 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 blah. The the psycho SJWs who have been basically attacking everybody for like the last 10 years. One of the biggest parts of that is a denial of your right to have free speech, free expression, to be able to speak your mind. And we are losing as a society the ability to have political dialogue, because nobody can talk to each other without it coming to, blood insults. Like, you can't just be of a politically right or politically left point of view and have a civilized disagreement. It's like, you're evil, you're a misogynist, you're the N-word, the National German Socialist Workers' Party, or you're a misogynist, blah 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 blah. Like, it's this red hot divide of hatred. And one of the big parts is the absolute denial of the right to free speech, or the legitimacy of that as a Western value by the social justice activist community. And the thing that has been in my mind that I didn't want to say is, well, if the political right, or I guess the political center, the classical liberal point of view, which said speech is the most important value, if the people on the mainstream, the normies, the people who want to just have nice dialogue, who want to get along, you have your view and I have mine and we can each get along, if they were to begin buying what the hard left is selling, which is that speech is violence, and that free speech must be silence, must be put away, and that like everything that isn't exactly politically correct is now hate speech, or disagreement or difference of opinion becomes recategorized as violence or hate speech, or cultivation of, like all these thought crimes used to silence free speech. What we would have left after we lost the ability to have dialogue would be only violence. Because speech, dialogue, disagreement, argument, even heated argument, is the problem-solving mechanism of the human race. It's how we're able to get along. It's how we're able to solve our difficulties. We negotiate. We talk to each other. We understand each other. We refine our arguments. We get resistance to what we want from the other side in the form of their arguments. And we learn where we're making mistakes. We learn to understand other people. If we lose that, and it seems to be that we are now losing it, which is why I feel I can talk about this. If the mainstream, the normies, begin to buy what the hard radical left is selling, then the only thing left when we have disagreements is violence. We don't have words anymore. We just have, there's no more talking. There's just beating with a stick. And I have been very reluctant to say this because I didn't want to say it and then have it be real, have it happen. But it's already happening. I'm putting that out there because maybe it's not too late. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe the violence, we can go, if we could talk to each other, if we could just yell at each other without it going to, you're evil, therefore I must hit you with a stick or shoot you, maybe we can pull back from this. Maybe we can, have a functional civil society where we don't have to murder each other. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, have a lovely, lovely day.